everyone, how are you doing? I hope everybody is doing well. So Launchpad के अंदर I promised you कि industry experts लेके आएंगे, technical बातें होंगी, life skills के बारे में बातें होंगी. तो आज ऐसे ही बहुत expert yet so grounded friend of mine कि जो हमेशा एक positivity ही dissipate करते हैं. I learned so much from him कि कैसे how you know organize yourself. डिस्पाइट ऑफ कि जो भी अपने आजू बाजू हो रहा है उसका आपके सैनिटी पे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ते हुए just keep doing the good work that you're doing. And I love to welcome my very favorite friend Kamal Bafna, who is executive director with one of MNC company. He's CA plus CPA. He has 20 years of rich experience in finance and banking. I'm sure with his sheer perseverance and dedication, he was working with international locations in Middle East and United Kingdom. He was associated with reputed companies like ONIC Holding, Oman Air, National Bank of Oman, Bank Sohar International, and Deutsche Bank. Currently, he's executive director with leading MNC Bank, as I said. He loves painting and sketching. He's a movie buff. He loves playing cricket and wanted to be cricketer. I need to talk about this. You wanted to be cricketer. This is one thing I never knew about you. And so that's that. So that is something. पेंटिंग करना सीए है सीपीए है बट इतने क्लासिक पेंटिंग करते हैं कि मुझे लगता है कि यार आप ये सब छोड़ दो यू शुड take that exhibition and all of that. So Kamal, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. Middle of quarter end, middle of very well deserving weekend that we are talking. I should have gave you the time off, but I've been like buzzing you, no Kamal, please come like that. So thank you so much for being with us today, and I'm sure the talk that we are going to have is like quite it's like much needed when we in the hindsight, when we look back and then we see अरे यार इतना कुछ अचीव कर लिया, इतना कुछ किया. So it's kind of appreciation of whatever you've been doing, yet so grounded. So and one thing, people, I would definitely tell you, on the floor it was very well received that Kamal he's very go-to person. You can go to him with tiniest of your query to the largest complex query and he'll solve like a jiffy, right? तो कमल, जानना चाहेंगे आपकी ये लाइफ जर्नी के बारे में.
So, Sayali, first of all, it's an honor. I mean, it's not. It's an honor to be here. It's not your privilege. It's my privilege to be sitting with you, and more than extreme kind words. So it has been like I didn't know that about myself, that I'm revered so much. So thank you very much for that. You have been a very, very close friend, and rightly said. So yeah, it gives me an added pleasure to have this chat with you. So, I mean, with a caveat that I don't think I have achieved anything greater. I think there are bigger and better professionals around me, and I learn from them almost on a daily basis. So yeah, but whatever little we could do, if it inspires the youngsters of today and the people who are going to be tomorrow's leaders, I think I will do my bit. And if they get inspired, I think it will be absolutely wonderful for me. It will be a satisfactory feeling. It will be a feeling of great satisfaction for me. So yeah, my journey, in the sense, I come from a very humble middle-class family. I mean, a middle-class happy family, I would say, where the cultural and the upbringing was absolutely of paramount importance. The kids were like taught the right values in life, the value of money, no spending, no wasting, in the sense, be grounded, have if you don't need anything extra, then what you need, you should not ask for it. In the sense, you should value the money. In the sense, there are more people who are less privileged, who cannot afford even a meal per day. So, those kind of feelings were grounded into us, embedded into our upbringing. So we always understood, that we should not be wasting, because resources are scarce, and there are people who are not as privileged as us. So that was the humble thing. And I grew up in Calcutta. So I'm a Rajasthani. I'm born in Rajasthan, from a small place called Ladnu. It's a small village, and I feel very proud of that. After CA, I started my journey with one of the NBFCs at that point of time. It was one of the big companies, and it belonged to the chartered accountant with whom I was training. So I joined Prudential Capital Markets Limited. I was there for 2 years. But overall, the job scene in Calcutta was not so interesting, in the sense it was quite depressing because not many opportunities were there. And then I thought, let me venture out, let me come to Mumbai and find a job. And as luck would have it, I got an opportunity to work with one of the greatest organizations in Sultanate of Oman in Middle East. The capital was Muscat, and I got this opportunity by destiny. And I said, why not? I mean, the money was good, and I said yes. And I moved to Oman post that. I went for 2 years because I had some financial commitments, but as luck would have it, and when I look back, I mean, the 2 years became 4 years, 4 years became 6 years, and you will not believe it, I stayed for 12 years in Oman. It's a beautiful country, and I was associated with some of the best companies there. I changed 4 jobs there. So Onik Holding was a strategic investor, and from there I moved on to Oman Air, which is the national airlines. Post that, I was planning to come back to India. Then I got this opportunity to work with a bank, and I got the offer from National Bank of Oman. So I stayed there. I joined that, and I stayed there for 2 years, and then Sohar Bank Sohar International, and I was lucky to get an opportunity in that, and I said, why not? But sadly, by that time, I realized I had completed 12 years, and it was too long a period, and my kids were growing up, and I was conscious of the fact that the window for me in India market, which was the market to be in, growing market where you could progress very much, was always there in my mind that I have to be in that market at some point of time. So I took a conscious decision. I got an offer from Deutsche Bank, and it is a big brand. So I said, yes, why not? It will add value to my CV, and it will give me a great exposure to be with an MNC bank. So that is when I joined Deutsche Bank. I was given an option, and I took Jaipur because that was my hometown, if you ask me. Though I had never stayed in Rajasthan for a long period, but it would have been a soft landing for my kids and my wife, because Jaipur is a slow, if you see in terms of space, in terms of pace as compared to Mumbai. So I was there with Deutsche I was there for a year in Jaipur. Then they called me to Mumbai, and then again, based on performance, they sent me to London, and I was in London for some time. And then when I came back, Deutsche had moved its corporate center to Pune. That is when I came to Pune, and that is where we met. So we met at Deutsche Bank.
Right.
Yeah. So I was in Pune, and I really enjoyed my stint in Pune. It's a beautiful city. And then I decided to move back to Mumbai, and I'm with one of the MNC banks, and today I'm talking to you. So that is in brief and a boring journey, which I could share with you.
Definitely not. So,
Thank you.
how about, I mean, Kamal, I wanted to ask you one thing. Going to Oman, or maybe, back in so many years where having internet was like a luxury, right? I mean, back in those 20 years ago that we are talking. And now that it's just one click away. Acha, take the reviews, take this thing, talk to people, go to LinkedIn, communicate with them, get connected, ask about it. How did you manage to go to something which is very, very less traveled path? Or maybe was it not a fear factor with you? Oh, I don't know there anybody. It's a home. I mean, coming from Assam to Kolkata to I mean, I'm sure had it been a tier 1, tier 2 city, right, Mumbai or something like that, it would have been little bit of edge. But then coming from such a modest background, did you not get through those questions? And if yes, how did you
Yes.
manage to handle those?
So, Sally, very pertinent question, in the sense internet was a luxury, as you said. In fact, you will be surprised, or many of your audience would be surprised when they hear it, that, I touched the first computer when I was in my BCom, when I was doing my graduation, and when the office took in which I was associated with the chartered accountant, he took a first a desktop.
Desktop,
We have forgotten the
bigger.
word desktop. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and when I touched it, I mean, I said, oh my God, what is this? I mean, that was this thing. Today, the kids in class 3 or 4, or maybe even in class 1, they are aware of most of the apps, So that was the time we grew up. So rightfully so, there was a lot of skepticism or apprehensions when I got this offer. You were going in a completely unexplored territory, because I had never ventured out of forget international domain. I had
state-wise.
not moved I had, yeah, exactly, except Rajasthan or maybe being in Calcutta or maybe for some official trips to Hyderabad or here and there, or Bangalore to some relative. Like on your own, you had never been to any place, right? So it was definitely this thing. But then, Sally, I think what is very important for me to say is that I'm a firm believer in God. There is always somebody who is taking care of you. There are things which happen on their own. You don't have any control, and He gives you signal that yes, please take that, please accept it. And there were so many signals. I mean, it's a very interesting story, which probably this is not the forum, but when I got this opportunity for Oman, I know there were like so many obstacles, and they kept on getting cleared. Like, okay, a number of things which were not in favor, but then they kept on getting removed one by one. And then I said, there was nothing to lose. I mean, what will happen? Worst come worst, you go for an interview, you will not be selected. What happens if the country doesn't have food? Because I am a Jain, I am supposed to have Jainic food, right? So what if I don't get there in a country which is unaware of all these traditions and all that? But trust me, I went without a preparation. I went, come what may, let's see it will make me a better person. It will make me a better professional. So that way, I just took my chances. Let me tell you, a bit of daring, it was there. But then, trust me, it was such a beautiful country that everything fell into place. You had the Gujarati basas, the thalis, and all that. When I talk about the stay part of it on the personal front, like getting accommodations, getting the food part of it, which is one of the most important critical factor. And rest all, office, we were all good in our work. We are chartered accountants. I take a great pride when I say I'm a chartered accountant. So work was never a problem, if you ask me. The only thing was the non-work things, and that absolutely fell in place. But nothing was prepared. We just went and explored it, and we were probably lucky, and God was taking care, so it just fell in place. If just fell in the right place, and everything was seamless, I would say. Yes.
Yours.
First few months, yes, it was always like, okay, I have to go back. I'm not enjoying, because my wife didn't join me at that point of time, because we had some family commitments. My sister was about to, we had her impending marriage, which was going to happen in the next 8-9 months. So I went alone. But then once my wife joined, life was cool, in the sense we we never wanted to come back. I mean, that was the kind of life we led. It was one of the best phases in your life, the financial independence you get. So yeah, you have to take some risks in life. That's right. And I have taken many.
I believe
I have taken many. So a lot of job changes, a lot of, and completely unrelated industries. But trust me, if you're a chartered accountant and if you're in finance domain, trust me, from my experience, you can do anything and everything. It's not a surgery, or it's not a rocket science. You can do everything. It's just your confidence in yourself. Believe in yourself. Trust me.
Right. But then, I mean, when I find myself like, what I would have done if I would have been in Kamal's shoes, and how difficult it was for me. And I was like, oh my God, no. I mean, without internet, without having any close connect, without doing any background verification, I mean, and validations, it is difficult. And taking such risk at that point of time, when you were also young, and things are quite not certain. So yeah, I mean, that's something for our viewers and students, as something that we can take from this conversation.
To that point, sometimes not knowing many things is very important, rather than knowing everything, because then you become too analytical. Sometimes just follow your guts instincts, just go ahead with the risk, and if you have confidence in you, you will make it. I mean, I firmly believe in that. So there were so many, I mean, to this point, I mean, I changed industry. So strategic investor to an airlines, then from airlines to banks, and banks to, corporate centers, MNC corporate centers, the journey has been completely into a different, like those were, to start with, those were black holes. You don't know what you're getting into, but then you firmly believe in your capabilities, you can do it. In fact, to that question, in fact, when I moved from Oman to India, I was completely discounted, in the sense, by my colleagues in Oman, who were all from Indian banks and all that. And they said, Kamal, you are doing a professional hierarchy, because you have lost your zing to be in the in the market. you're kind of outdated for the Indian market, Indian knowledge, Indian politics. If you see the corporate politics, you will not survive. And I was determined that no, guys, I will prove you wrong. And I was very determined that, in fact, my day used to start at 11 o'clock, and I used to sleep at around 1:30 initially, when I was understanding what kind of a beast I was getting into. And trust me, it took some time. It took me 6 to 8 months, 9 months, but then I was able to control. I was able to take good control over it, hopefully.
Thinking about your current roles, or maybe when students, I mean, back in those days, even me going to federal reporting, my first job was to go to New York to do the federal
Yeah.
reporting. Darky firm malum nahi rehta. I mean, what all we did is like mid-size firm, coming from mid-size background, but then you do it, right? So I really
Yeah.
wanted to share that exposure to students, that what this is. Don't accept the job just because you're getting money.
Mm,
The
mm,
roles which really matters you, like it's your interest areas are parallel to your job description. And many of the times we don't understand what job description is all about, right?
true,
it
true, true.
feels quite luxurious, quite lucrative when we are sitting here, oh, big names, big this thing. But quite there is a possibility that you would may not like it. Probably you may like it or you don't. I mean, that depends if you get yourself in wrongly placed scenario.
True.
And that's
That's true.
how my entire initiative is, like to tell people, what, when it means taxation, this means that. When you're
Yeah.
telling mergers and acquisition, people, yeah, I'll do the mergers acquisition immediately. I don't know, you cannot. I mean, we'll back
Yeah,
it
that's true.
work a lot. And when it comes to decision making, there are senior people who will have the say on the table, not you. I mean, of course your data will be
Right,
utilized in the decision making.
right.
So are you ready to wait till that, when you step up in the ladder, when you can be there in the front rows? So can we
True.
have a little bit insight from you, what are we doing, how what it means to be there? If I'm doing audit, can I enter into your arena? And if yes, then what I should be doing, like that?
No, absolutely. It's a very relevant question, and it's a very apt question in the context of the discussion that we are having, and particularly the audience that you are addressing it to. So, there are few ground rules, right? For the first thing is you have to be good in your work. I mean, just don't do for the, as you mentioned rightly, just don't do something for the sake of it because you have been interested with something. You have to do it. Second thing is, I mean, you have to be proud of whatever you do, right? You may be into audit, and probably that is not your liking, but then when you are doing it, feel proud that you are doing it. I mean, for that matter, anything, even if it is like, this has been a ground rule to me. If something is going out of your email box or your table, if it's a document which is going out of your table, it has to have a stamp of that, yes, I have done it, stamp it that, okay, this is a document prepared by Kamal Bafna, or for that matter, Sally, right? So you have to make sure that you feel proud when you hand over that document to somebody. And these are not just, I'm just not professing this idea just out of thin air and telling you. So if time permits, I had one, I won't take the name, I don't have the liberty to, maybe, but I had a great boss whom I worked with in one of these organizations, and in Oman, and two of the organizations in Oman, actually. He was again my boss in one of the subsequent organization, because he picked me up and he wanted me to join him, so that way. So he used to tell me, never go get into your boss's cabin without a paper, because that shows your intent. Because a notebook, I mean, by a paper, I mean, you should have a notebook, because that shows your intent, that yes, you are ready to take notes in whatever he's saying, and you don't drop something through the cracks, right? No, none of the mind is so capable that it will remember each and every point when you come out of the meeting room. He taught me such simple things, and I just ingrained these into my bodies. He was the one who told me, when you send an email, it should have the stamp of class, that okay, this has been done. It doesn't matter uh, whether it takes some more time, but make sure, your language is proper, your content should give the appropriate message. Sometimes people just do it without even bothering about what they mean, what they want from the audience, right? You have to be very sure of what you're listening, and then you have to technically be expert in your work, to ask a lot of questions. I mean, that is what I pain to see, the differentiator between the front runners and the people who are very content in whatever routine type of mundane jobs they are doing is the quality of questions they ask, how deep they are ready to get into. I've always like asked questions even at that level. When a process is being discussed or when something is being discussed, I get into the nitty gritties of it, and I make sure that I shred it, because if there is a problem, if you break it into elements, you can master any of these, you can find solutions. And if you can't find solutions, maybe you will be in a better position to escalate it to the higher levels who can find a solution for you. But you have to understand the problem at the lowest component. So these are few things which are very important and which I have followed. But all said and done, you have to love what you do. You have to, whether it is outside the office or inside the office, you have to be proud that, okay, you are doing something which adds value not only to the organization, but it adds value to you, because then you feel motivated, you feel stimulated. Otherwise, it's just no, you drag your feet to the office every day, which is not the ideal condition. Coming to your question, like, is it possible to move from one area to another, maybe from audit to tax, or tax to maybe merchant banking or investment banking or something? See, everything is possible. Miracles do happen, and these are not miracles, let me tell you. Uh, and organizations do take care of their star performers, let me tell you. And we have been like, examples of that. I'm not saying I'm a star performer, but trust me, every performance, every action is noted with a positive this thing. And if you have that in you, trust me, these organizations are so huge and they need good people as well. So they will make sure that they retain good people, and they will give you opportunities to stay put in the organization and add more value to it. So if an opportunity comes in one vertical and you are in the other vertical, they see that you are doing a stupendous job in one vertical. It's not the technical knowledge which matters, it's the aptitude and the attitude which you carry with yourself. They would be sure that if they place you from here and from vertical A to vertical B, they are sure that you will add a similar kind of vertical value add to the vertical B as well. So it's not a problem at all. People can move across the verticals, people can move across domains, as long as they are ready to give their best. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, as Kamal said, it is quite inclusive environment in corporate, that if you're, if they see that he can do it, that can do attitude, if you can place it, then that's there. But Kamal, that is when you get entered into it. But when the real struggle is how to get entered into, students should prepare, or how they should prepare, or what it takes to be there.
Yeah. So very important question, and Sally, I am really glad that you touched it. It's like, it comes with experience, and we are in a position to share this with the students of today. What we have done, so that they can leverage that and definitely use it to their benefit. So, what few top things come to my mind? What needs to be a successful career professional is that, first thing is be technically sound, understand what you're going through, your subject matter. You should, whether you're doing for that matter IFRS reporting, whether you're doing auditing, whether you're doing taxation, whether you're doing international laws, or for that matter legal or business management, whatever you do, you have to really understand the nuances very clearly, so that you are your subject matter expert. See, this is one of the things which I learned. If I have done my CA today, right, I will be reporting into, or I'll be working with somebody who had done it 4 years back, right, or maybe 10 years back or 20 years back. My boss, he gave me this example. He had done his this thing from UK. He has done his ACCA from UK, and he told me, Kamal, you are a more recent chartered accountant. You should be telling me what I should do rather than asking me, okay, what you want me to do, right? That should be your attitude, in the sense you should add value to the table. When I am talking, say, Sayali, you are my boss and I am reporting into you, then I should come to you, Sayali, you are an old chartered accountant. You did it 10 years before me. I am more conversant because I have done it today. I know the rules better than you. So that should be the attitude. I'm not saying that they have to argue on everything or something, but they have to have that confidence. And whenever the opportunity comes, they have to make sure that they add value by bringing the recent nuances into the thing, which will be appreciated. Let me tell you, it's not a question of ego or anything. Nowadays, things have changed when, a senior person will not listen to this thing. The processes have become, the organization dynamics have become very democratic. Young people are very, very smart, as always. So, they have got equal voice in terms of decision making. So be be upskilled, and have your technical nuances absolutely ready to share, and don't be scared to share those nuances, because that will help you in establishing yourself as a professional. Second thing is, what I would say is your communication skills. You should definitely, I keep on telling, I've got a big team, and I literally drag them to join some communication courses outside the organization, inside the organization. You'll be surprised that, I was introduced to Toastmasters in Oman, and I just fell in love with that concept. Like, okay, I was so taken aback. Oh, this kind of forum exists. I mean, that was a question mark. I said, oh my God, what is this amazing thing? And you will not believe, I used to attend that Toastmasters club I was invited by one of the financial controllers at that point of time. And I just fell in love with that concept. And I went as a guest every time. That's a different story, that I couldn't join that because of my commitments, in the sense, my work commitments. I'd never had that time on that particular day when they used to convene the meeting. With my current organization, I joined as a member, trust me. And last year, I became a competent communicator. I completed my project 10. And trust me, it's not the 10 projects that I've completed which gives you the confidence, but the sheer fact that you stand in front of people, among the like-minded people, you talk in front of them. There is no inhibition. You can make mistakes. You can talk whatever you feel like. You may qualify, you may not qualify, but the very experience that you're standing on a stage talking to 20 to 50 people, that gives you that confidence, and it will bring that confidence in you. So I absolutely and strongly suggest, see, communication is very important. Let's all acknowledge that. You get a 5-minute window or maybe 2-minute window to present in front of the leadership, right? If it all depends on how effectively you can make an impact in those 2 minutes or 5 minutes. So for that, you need to have, you may be a technical expert, you may know all the audit laws, or all the audit sections, all the tax sections, IFRS rules, everything you may not know. But if you're not able to articulate that in that 2 to 5 minutes, you have lost that opportunity, right? So having that communication skill absolutely bang on is a prime requirement. And I will say, do whatever you do whatever needs to be done. Please join a communication course and upskill your communication skills.
Two very valid points you said, that we freshers have this stigma that I'm a fresher, how can I say like that, and that is something you helped us to break down, that I'm a fresher, I'm having a fresh perspective towards the work or towards this thing, and then I should bank on that, not like overconfidence. There is a line between this, not being overconfident or rude or just disregarding the fact that the person is sitting next to you is a senior person. But then, yes, don't shy away from the fact that you're updated. Yeah, that is one great thought that I can tell to people. And of course, yes, Toastmaster, and that's how people, you can see, I mean, when I'm saying you know what, that
the fillers, correct.
Get eliminated, right? And submitting project 10 is not easy. Come on.
It's no, once you're ready, see, so this brings to the point back, do whatever you do it with passion. You have to complete it. I mean, that doggedness, that stubbornness has to be there. That's a great quality to have. You have to have that stubbornness in your nature. If I have taken something, I'll complete it. That has to be there.
Last question, your paintings, how, when, I mean, this is the most beautiful part that we have not touched yet. So how this journey, how this stint with paintings, and is it your solace place, is it your meditation place when you're doing that, and how do you manage is the question.
I just stick to it. I mean, it used to give me so much of satisfaction. So when I was a kid, while eating, I will keep on doing, making sketches in air, and my grandfather will scold me, okay, eat properly. What are you doing? Nonsense. So all those are in fun spirit, but that stuck with me. and I had a good hand, and I just developed that skill. And since childhood, I used to draw. I could replicate anything and everything which used to come in the newspaper or the books. My art, I always came first in the art subject. So I just developed that, and somehow with priority shifting, I was lucky that I continued with that as a hobby. I wanted to be an artist, but again, that was a difficult ask at that point of time because we had our priorities in terms of choosing a career. So, but I promised myself that I will never leave it. So I continue doing that, and I do it today. And it's more of a stress buster. And I mean, if you can see, I mean, okay, you have got all these paintings. These are all by my done by me. So I take out time. It's not that I have to take out some time to do this. It's like it's a stress buster for me. I need this to kind of keep me sane and all that. I just get into a different world when I'm doing this. I'm lost into kind of thing. So it's more of a sanity check, I will say, and I just love creating things. So yeah, it's I hope that answers your question. But I'm very passionate about it, and I love doing it. So I'm
That's how I wanted to tell. CA plus CPA plus great artist, right? And that's what makes Kamal so different than others. He's being so inclusive, so candid, sharing your own experiences, and I'm sure it'll benefit to the viewers, to the students who are watching us. So people, many of the times they keep complaining, I don't have this, I don't have that, or maybe there is a comparison going back and forth.
yeah.
But then look at the journey, right? Look at the journey. Requires a lot of it proves your metal, right? So this is something that we learn out of our conversation. Kamal, it was great talking to you. And if I really want to end this session, which I would never love to, but then what would your end note, like what is that one philosophy that you would always, I mean, say all is well, all is well. So that what is that one line that you keep telling to yourself that uh, this shall to pass, or maybe anything that you
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true. That's absolutely. I mean, you touched a very sensitive chord in the sense. There are times when you will feel down. The things will never be same always. So you will go through those ups and downs. But I met a counselor whom I hold in very high regard, and I asked the same question, like how to come out of those depths. When you are feeling low. So the answer was, and I stick to this now, make yourself some positive assertions like I am the best, I am the best, I will do this, I will succeed. Repeat this every day, at least 5 times a day, whatever assertion you choose for yourself, and trust me, you will come out of it because it pulls. And this is what I understood from the counselor in the sense it was a issue, or he was a hypnotherapist, and she explained to me like this is how it works. So it pulls the positive energies. And in terms of professional, this thing, I would like to just add for a success mantra: don't have any ego. If there is an opportunity to learn, even if somebody is junior to you, just reach out to him, because anybody can be an expert in these days because there is so much of privilege, so much of information. So don't let your ego hurt you or this thing and reach out to them. Oh, he's younger to me, or how can he's not a CA or this thing. No, if you have an opportunity, just reach out and make him feel special and just take the best out of him, because that will benefit you. And second thing is, don't forget the power of networking. Build friends, because they are the one who will really, they can take you to places. Knowing people at the right places. There is a dialogue from the Godfather movie. I mean, it's important. I don't remember the exact words, but it's very pertinent. I have this like embedded in my mind. Like it's good to have important friends in important places or something like that. So build your network. I think that will really do wonders to your career.
Yeah, I mean, time and again, we've been talking about this, that communication, presentation, your soft skill plus networking is the key, which will keep you to the places, and not friends with
Yeah.
just benefits, like, this friend, and that's why we are
No.
doing
Yeah.
no, genuinely, right?
Genuinely. Yes.
Genuinely do that. And I always say to people, networking when you don't need it. and that time only
Yes.
networking happens. It's just not when, and people can make out very easily, she has some intention, some this thing behind it, and that's why she's talking
True.
to us.
True.
So Kamal, thank you so very much for being here,
Thank you.
despite of such again and again I'm telling, quarter end is there, much required break, weekend, mid of the weekend we are, but still you pull all the strings and being here with me,
Thank you.
that means a lot to me, and I'm sure viewers enjoyed our candid conversation. Thank you for being you here, and this is what I call Kamal around, and that's about it. I look forward to have you on such sessions more often, for more,
Yeah.
because I am sure there's a plethora of knowledge, plethora of experience and expertise that you are having, and it's just injustice to cover it in 30 minutes, even though you say that you got only 2 minutes to express yourself, but I cannot be crisp and smart to cover all of it. So I look forward to have you more in more such sessions. Yeah.
Thank you, Sally. It has been an honor and an absolute pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
viewers, I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.